episode 31 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast. I'm Nikki, and this is a podcast all about knitting, crochet and making all the things here in northwest London. You can find me online on Instagram at hippie_Nikki. I don't really use Twitter, so I don't know why I've been telling you to go there. But I do use Instagram quite a lot, and you can find me there at hippie_Nikki. We also have a Ravelry group if you look for Tea and Possibilities under the groups tab on Ravelry. And as always, all of my show notes will be on my blog, and the links to everything will be just down below. Today's tea is bringing back happy Fire East memories for me, because this is Vanilla Chai by Pukka, which was kindly gifted to me along with a great many other teas by Carly, who was absolutely lovely. It was so nice to meet you, and thank you very much. I was actually very generous and shared this one with my mum and nan because they think it's really lovely too. Before we dive into the episode, I just wanted to put a little reminder out there about the best year ever cow. I am terrible at remembering to tell you about this every episode, so I am remembering this week. The Best Year Ever Cow is a knit-along, a year-long knit-along running from the 1st of January to the 31st of December 2017. And the rules are very simple. You knit yourself 4 things that bring you joy, and they don't necessarily have to be for you. If knitting for other people brings you joy, that's totally fine. But if this is the opportunity that you wanted to make something for yourself, go ahead. There is a finished objects and a chatter thread on the Ravelry group, so please pop your finished objects there. I just ask that you put your objects into one post, so if you edit it when you need to add a new finished object, that would be great. I would like to say a massive welcome back to my returning viewers, and a massive welcome to new viewers as well. Thank you so much for giving this podcast a shot. I really appreciate it. And in fact, to show my appreciation, there is going to be a little giveaway this week. I mentioned in my PomFest video that I would be doing a little giveaway when we hit 2,000 subscribers. And this is the prize. The lovely Amy of the Stranded Podcast and Stranded Dye Works gave me this beautiful skein of one of her most popular colourways. This is Flamingo Legs. It's on her Paradise MCN base, and it's fingering weight. And you can see why it's one of her most popular, because it's gorgeous. So now that we have hit 2,000 subscribers, I am ready to give this one away. In order to enter this giveaway, please go to the Ravelry group, Tea and Possibilities. Please make sure that you are a member of the group, and I will start a thread called 2,000 subscribers giveaway, or something similar, because that's quite a mouthful. And if you go in there, and if you let me know a question that you would like me to answer on the podcast, that will be your entry. I will be closing this on Saturday the 12th of August because I am going away that week. I am actually going to Italy, and I am hoping to close it, announce the winner, and hopefully get it posted out to you before I go away. If not, as soon as I get back. So please do enter. I will answer your question on the next episode of the podcast, the winning question, and I will also post that out to you as soon as I can. I will also probably answer a few of the other questions because I'm hoping they'll be good fodder for Knit and Natter. That was a fairly long intro. I don't usually ramble on so much at the beginning because I ramble so much later on. But now let's move on to Whipped Up. It's been a week, guys. It has been such a great week. I have not 1, but 2 finished objects. Ta-da! There seems to be a real theme to my knitting this week, as they are both shades of purple. I suppose this is a bit more pinky, but they're in the same area. I'm going to start off with the beeswax hat. This is by Amy van der Laar, and it has a beautiful honeycomb cable texture all over it, and is just absolutely gorgeous. And I continued to rip this back and reknit and rip back and reknit, basically until it was finished. There are so many cables, I hope you can see them all there, and it's really tricky to do when watching TV, which is when I tend to knit. So for me, it was not a good brainless knit, but it is gorgeous. As you can see, I haven't woven in the ends yet. I have bought some balloons this week though, so I'm going to have a big hat blocking party at some point this week or next weekend, because that's 3 hats finished now. I've got one more gift hat to knit, and I think that's probably the end of my hat kick. But I'll pop this on for you because it is not in the beanie style that the other 2 have been. I'll just pop that in there. So it does kind of fit quite close with a little bit of space just here, but I love it. I think it's so cute and it's really warm. I think because it doesn't have that beanie kind of slouch at the back, it just feels even warmer. It feels like a little hug for your head. So I hope my friend will love it. I think it will really suit her. So fingers crossed she doesn't mind that it's not a beanie. I actually brought a hairbrush down with me this time. I've learnt from my previous hat wearing excursions on the podcast, so you won't have to put up with my horrendous hat hair. So never forget Hat Hair Day. I'm really happy with my beeswax hat. I'm very, very glad that I did all the picky, unpicking, frogging, ripping back, redoing. I'm very glad I did that because now that it's finished, I know that if I had left those miscross cables in, that I'd be looking at it now feeling a little bit like, well, it's finished, but it's not great. So I'm really glad that I took the time to do that. My second finished object is one that you have not seen in a while. I'm just gonna unfold it and wonder how the best way to show you this is. There you go. I'll just hold it up for the time being. This is my librarian cardigan. This is the Hortensia pattern by Andy Satterland. It's got a beautiful garter stitch collar, lovely full length sleeves, and is a cropped cardigan, as you can see. And it just comes just below my bust line, which is really flattering and is exactly what I wanted. And I did knit it with very little positive ease because I do like that nipped in finish on cropped cardigans. I have woven in most of the ends, although I've just spotted the one that I've missed. It's live, guys, what can I say? Well, it's not live, is it? You know what I mean. So it fits quite nicely. It does need a really, really good block though, because it's kind of rumpled from being squished up on the needles, and yeah, I'm just not happy with how it looks at the moment. The only thing I will say is that the collar doesn't stay down when I put it on. It tends to flick up, kind of like an Elvis collar. So when it is finished, I am going to pop it on and get my mum or my nan to just put a little pin in, and then I can sew down the collar so that it stays in place and has that really cute kind of shawl collar almost. I'm really happy with this. This is only the 3rd garment that I've ever made, and it's actually one of the most complicated ones. The first one I knit, I suppose it's my 4th. I did do a cable jumper a couple of years ago. It had a V back in the neck and a long cable going down the back, and it was nice, but it was far too small. It was like a second skin. So I do have that somewhere. I'm planning to frog it and potentially knit it up into a cardigan, but that was my first one. My second one was the Urban, which I showed you last week, and it didn't have any arms, which was really good. It was my first go at short rowing, which went okay. My first go at shaping, which again went okay. And the only issue I had with it was just a bit short, and I wanted it to be a bit longer. But I wear it as a t-shirt and it's absolutely fine. The next garment that I knit doesn't really count, I don't think, because it was my Harry Potter jumper. It was my Weasley jumper with an N, and it has no shaping whatsoever. So I didn't really have to worry about fit. It's quite roomy. My nan helped me with the seaming because I am terrible at seaming. I'm so bad. But yeah, I haven't really had much experience with really truly seamless knits. The Urban was knit in the round, but there was no sleeves or anything. So this one you actually pick up and knit the sleeves. Of course you pick up the collar and knit the collar, and there's lots and lots of short rows involved in the sleeves and in the collar. And I realise I'm just flapping this around and you can't really see anything. When it is blocked and I pop the buttons on, I am going to do a little bit of filming with it on so you can see what it looks like and what I'm talking about. But yeah, the short rows on the sleeves, this was the second sleeve that I did, and I'm looking at it now and I'm much happier with the finish on this shoulder than I am with the finish on the left. It's just, you can see kind of where I was getting better at it, which is great, which is fine. And come the collar, my short rowing is fairly neat actually, which makes me quite happy. But I would like to do more seamless garments just because I think that my picking up of stitches when it comes to doing things like sleeves could really do with more practice. I really like short rows and I would love to do more of those. So yeah, I am going to block this as soon as I finish filming so it can be drying overnight. I'm going to pop the buttons on, and then next weekend, there will be a podcast next weekend purely because I'm going away. So I wanted to get in and announce the giveaway winner before I go away, and hopefully I will have time to try this on. Hopefully it won't be too hot to try it on, and I'll be able to put in a little bit of video of it on and finished. But yeah, I'm super happy with my finished objects. I'm particularly happy about that cardigan. There is a lot wrong with it. I look at it and I see it very much as a learning piece. And I'm very excited to make more garments. As you know, I have the sweater quantity of Stranded Dye Works for the pavement and for the soiree. I don't think I've mentioned before, I must have done months ago, but I also have a sweaters quantity of Yarn Collective for the gingerbread jumper by Libby Johnson. So I do really feel that there are going to be a lot of garments in my future. I want to clear the needles a little bit, clear the stash a little bit. We're going to come to that shortly. But yeah, I'm really feeling garments because I think up to this point I've had a lot of fear about them, about getting the fit right, and maybe I'm going to waste all this time. And my librarian cardigan, the Hortensia, is not excellent. It's not up there with the quality of garments produced by, say, Amy of Stranded and Katie of Inside Number 23, but the only way I'm going to get to that standard is by doing. So I'm not going to save up my lovely yarn, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to read. I found a great video on German short row techniques when I was about halfway through the collar, and I'm going to try that on my next short row project. And I'm just going to keep trying because I want lots of hand knits, and being scared of garment making is not going to get me there. But what have I been working on apart from that this week? Well, I will just grab my little podcaster basket that I have right here and get out, shockingly enough, you know this bag by now, guys. This is from Odd Knits Adventures, and I basically always have a hat in it. Because yes, I added another hat to my hat kit. So next on my needles was supposed to be the Fuego hat by Justina Lokowska. Side note, thank you so much to everybody who got in contact and told me that it was called the Fuego. I believe that's how it was spelled out to me. It sounds right. Thank you so much. I actually read it out loud to while Rich was in the room, and he went, "Oh, fire, Spanish." He's learning Spanish. And I was like, I have been trying to pronounce this for weeks on end. You're sat there, I had no idea it was Spanish. He sat there doing his Spanish lessons every night, hadn't mentioned, oh, by the way, you're pronouncing it wrong. And his excuse didn't really sound like Spanish the way you were saying it. Support, guys. This is the level of support that I receive. I was supposed to be casting on the Fuego hat, but this little beauty got cast on instead. This, I don't know if you recognise it actually. Here it is in the hand wound ball. This was such a pleasure to wind because it's so beautiful. This is La Bien Amie that I picked up at Pomfest. It is the La Littorale colourway, and I am knitting it up into a sock head hat for me. And look how gorgeous it is. It is just knitting up so beautifully. It kind of almost reminds me of the earth from space, like if you were looking at like a desert. It's absolutely beautiful. These, I just so happened, I wasn't being selfish, I just so happened to have the right size needles free. And yeah, I didn't want to order an extra pair to cast on the Fuego before my beeswax hat was finished. That only came off the needles a day or so ago, so, you know, this is just my take along knitting. It's so mindless and easy, but the yarn makes it such a pleasure. It's gorgeous. This is the Sockhead hat by Kelly McClure. I believe Katie is also knitting one. I think we were both knitting on ours at Fibre East. And yeah, this has become my handbag knitting. It's really good for when I'm in meetings, for when I'm on the train if there's room. And yeah, if I just am really, really sleepy, it's so easy just to pick up and go. I've nearly finished the ribbing, and I will then be working on the main body of the hat. I was considering taking this on holiday, but the needles are fixed metal addies. And I messaged EasyJet and said, if I take wooden needles on the plane, is that okay? Because we're not actually taking hold luggage. We're just going to kind of backpack slightly. And they said, yeah, wooden needles are fine. So I picked myself up some Knit Pro Symphonies, which are the gorgeous ones with the rainbow wood. But to be safe, I didn't get fixed circulars. I picked up an interchangeable cable and needles. This way, if anything happens, if I show them the screenshot of EasyJet saying it's fine and they still don't care, I can just take the needles off, give these to security and put the stoppers on the cable. So this is for a completely different project. And having started my Sockhead hat, I just don't want to put it onto a different set of needles. I don't really like interchangeable needles at that length. They become a little bit awkward, I find. They're just not particularly comfortable for me. And I don't want to halfway through the hat change to a different set of needles, because I do think that affects the material you produce. It seems to for me anyway. So I will be casting on a special holiday project and sadly leaving my Sockhead at home. So now that I've mentioned new cast-ons, I would like to kind of show you my thought process behind my new cast-ons before I reveal what I'm doing. So as you know, over the last couple of weeks I've been to a couple of yarny shows. So I was at Pomfest in mid-July and I was at Fibre East last weekend. I was intending to vlog Fibre East, but I spent so long chatting to people I didn't get as much footage as I hoped. I will be sharing some later on in the podcast so that you get an idea of the lovely day I had. I was lucky enough at Fibre East to meet the lovely Ellie of Skein Deer Knits. As you know, if you've seen her podcast or looked at her Instagram, she is a colourwork queen. And I was not going to buy anything until she started talking about mittens. And specifically about some mittens she was releasing. She is starting a mitten club, which will be running, I believe it's over 4 months, and every month the pattern will be slightly more difficult than the one before. And she very kindly sent me a copy of her Selbu Mittens pattern, which I really hope I'm pronouncing correctly. And I looked it up, and the Selbu Rose is actually a traditional Norwegian colourwork pattern specifically for mittens, which I thought was really cool. And I think this is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. But I don't have any really toothy colourwork yarns in my stash. So she very kindly helped me find some beauties. These two are from the Knitting Swede. They are 100% superwash BFL, and I think they look beautiful together. This was the last skein. I nearly got my traditional teal or blue, but this was the last skein. And I thought, on a cold day, this beautiful orange is just going to make me feel really warm and toasty when I pull them on. This is the Knitting Swede's Spartan DK base. This one is called Samarkand, which again I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, and this one is called London Fog, which couldn't be any more perfect considering it probably will be foggy when I need these. I'm very, very excited to cast on this colourwork project. I think I'm going to do that when I get back from Italy. But yeah, I'm very excited because she assures me that this is going to be a really simple beginner's project. I've already read through the pattern and it's so beautifully written, Ellie. It really it doesn't at all make you feel scared. You haven't overdone the instructions so that you end up kind of going, oh my god, there's so much to think about. It feels like there's just enough. And I think these are going to make gorgeous mittens and I can't wait to cast them on. Something else that I picked up at Fibre East, as you saw earlier, was this beautiful basket from the Basket Company. It was hand woven in Ghana and I love these things. I'm on the lookout for some kind of tray versions for our bathroom for when we move. I love them just for general storage. I just love these beautiful hand woven things and they smell gorgeous and I love them. And this is going to sit by my sofa in our new flat with all of my current projects in, and I might just be overcome by the trendy East Londonness of it all and take it to a farmer's market with me as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Fibre East in detail during Knit and Natter, but before we go on to that, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my new cast-ons and the kind of feeling I'm having at the moment after picking up quite a bit of yarn at the last 2 shows I've been to. I have to confess, I am not a stasher. I have only very recently, in about the last 7 or 8 months, acquired a stash. I've always had a few little bits of yarn kicking around, but I haven't had a stash before. And that is because I tend to only buy things when I need them for a project. I live in London, space and frankly money are at a premium, so I tend not to buy things unless they're very quickly going to be cast on and worked on. However, I bought 2 sweaters quantities at Pomfest. The single skein that I bought has already been cast on into a hat, but those sweater quantities are sitting there waiting. As you've seen, I bought some mitten yarn, which I'm not planning to cast on till later in August. So I'm acquiring a lot. There's also the amount that I picked up at work that's just kind of sat there, like someone take it home, please. So I have a lot, and I have to say that having a stash doesn't make me feel great. It actually makes me feel a little bit more anxious. This may be because at the moment it's all kind of packed away. I'm sure if it was out and beautifully displayed, I would love it. But mostly it makes me a little bit anxious. And so I have decided the day before we go on holiday, I actually have the day off work to pack. And as I've said, I'm not taking hold luggage, so it's not going to take very long. So I've decided to use that day to do some stash organisation and kind of group things together and make plans. The main thing that I have already decided to do is to frog 2 projects. I have been working on my Lily Pilly for about 1.5 years. It's my Cornish Lily Pilly made out of custom dyed colourways from Stranded. They are beautiful and I love them. They are on her Paradise MCM base. They couldn't be more gorgeous. But I haven't really worked on it. I don't really feel the love for it. And it's not the colour, it's not the idea. The idea was to have sandy stripes with a kind of blue sea lace. It's not to do with that. It's to do with the fact that I'm probably not going to wear it when I finish it. I don't really ever wear lacy accessories, so it's not really something that is very me. So I am going to frog it. I already have plans for it. It's going to be my holiday project. I am going to cast on the Colour Affection by Vera Valimaki to take on holiday. I'm going to make it for my mum for Christmas. I hope that if I cast it on now, I'll be finished in plenty of time. And I've got a few hours on a plane to work on it. So that's my plan for this week, to get this ready for my holiday. So I feel really, really good about it already. I haven't even frogged it yet and I feel great because I feel a lot more excited about this. I think it's a much more appropriate use of the yarn because it is going to be loved. I may well not want to part with it. The second project that I am going to frog, can you guess, is my fade. I was so excited about this project when I went to Edinburgh Yarn Festival and I found all my yarns. I was so excited. I had this idea that I was going to make this beautiful shawl that had all the Hogwarts colours in, and I don't feel the love for it. I've had to pull it back a few times and I just don't seem to be able to get into the rhythm of it. And then at Fibre East I saw one that was finished and it was huge. It was like someone had it pinned along the edge of their table, and the fact that it covered the table set off alarm bells for me. It looked beautiful, but I thought, am I going to wear that, really? Am I going to wrap it around me so many times? No, I suppose I could use it as a blanket at home, but that's kind of not what it's for. I'm planning to do us a crochet granny stripe for our home, for our sofa. I'm working on my Cozy Memories blanket. It's not something that we need. So I am going to frog it. But what to do with all those beautiful yarns? Katie did suggest doing the So Faded jumper, but I think having a lot of disparate colours in a shawl, scarf doesn't matter so much, but I think it would not look quite great in a jumper. I would love to knit a So Faded, but I think I would go for more subtle fade. And then I remembered how desperately I want a Stephen West knit. I have never knit any of his patterns. I love them so much. I think his aesthetic is beautiful, quirky, fun. I just love it. So I have decided that my Edinburgh Yarn Fest, my previously fade yarns, are going to become a West knit shawl. The first one I have in mind is fringed. I believe this is the one that Amy knit, and it looked like a massive watermelon and is gorgeous. So 3 of the colours are going to go into fringed, leaving me with 2 more. I really like the Exploration Station. I've never tried brioche. It seems like a good opportunity to give it a go. So I might buy another colour if I don't find any in my stash that will complement the 2 remaining colours. I will buy something to make up the Exploration Station. And I'm already really excited about this. Much as I'm not a stasher, I'm also not really a process knit person. I love the process of knitting, but I'm not someone that is ever going to be happy just to have knit something and have it there. It either has to be gifted or I have to wear it. Otherwise I'm just not happy with it, and it feels almost like a waste of time, however much I enjoyed it. So yeah, that is my plan for 2 of my kind of languishing whips. And I am then going to sort everything else out. I'm going to pop everything into project bags. I'm going to have a bag just of sock yarn. I'm going to have a bag just for, random single skeins that I might have. But as much as possible, I am desperately going to try to give everything a purpose. I can't knit it all now, but it will make me feel a lot more comfortable if I know what it's going to grow up to be. I am even... shows you what a dork I am. I am even thinking about creating a spread in my bullet journal to monitor my stash. Because you're out and about, you don't always have time to check Ravelry, and frankly, I don't ever really update my Ravelry stash. I'm hoping if I have time when I do this big clear out that I will photograph it and kind of get it all on Ravelry as well. But if it's in my bullet journal, I can just write it down. And then when I'm out, I can open it up and I can go, oh yes, this is what I need. So that's the plan. I already feel a lot lighter for making that decision. And yeah, I'm just really oddly excited to get all my yarn out and figure out what it's all going to be. I really should be saving my rambling for knit and natter, shouldn't I? But yeah, seeing as I'm on a roll, let's move on to knit and natter. Today's knit and natter, as I said, will be about Fibre East, but it will also be a little bit about something called imposter syndrome. I'm going to start with Fibre East because it was amazing. I have this beautiful basket that I love. I have no idea how much I love this thing. The colours, I just love them so much. It's gorgeous. And I had such a great time. It was so lovely to spend time with Katie and Amy. Amy wasn't vending at Fibre East, which meant that we got to spend a lot more time with her. We ended up spending a lot of time knitting under some stairs in the school actually, which was quite nostalgic because I spent most of my time at school reading in like stairwells at lunchtime, so that was a bit of a flashback for me. I was very lucky, as I said, to meet Ellie Skein Dear Knits, who was generous enough to share her knowledge and help me find the right thing for my colourwork mittens, which I'm still very excited about. And I was also kind of starstruck to meet Tracy of Nora George, who is gorgeous and lovely and just an incredibly talented person. And as somebody who I follow online and whose yarn I lust over, it was so wonderful to meet her in real life and find that she is every bit as lovely as her yarn. Fibre East was very different for me. I'd been to Edinburgh Yarn Fest this year and Pom Fest, and prior to that I'd been to the knitting and stitching festivals. It was very different. It was much more outdoorsy, so most of the stalls were in little marquees in this school playing grounds, and there was such a variety of different vendors. There were ones that I'd seen before, like Fine Fish Yarns. Try saying that after a glass of wine. Fine Fish Yarns, who have beautiful things, and I've already kind of got it in the back of my head that if I do need an extra skein for my exploration station, I will probably be getting it from Terry because her stuff is just beautiful and I love it. That was a tangent. But there were some other dyers there that I've never seen before. I'd never seen the Knitting Swede, so I'm very happy to come home with some of their yarn. I discovered a beautiful stall called Hey J, which was just stunning, and I couldn't get any footage of it because it was just round, which was totally fair because it was all gorgeous. And I will link to them in the show notes because I have been doing a little bit of nosying online. I also really loved Yarn Stories. They had beautiful skeins, and oddly enough I fell in love with the one called Pansy Parkinson, which is not something I ever thought would happen, but it did. And it was just a beautiful day. It was a bit grey and a bit drizzly, which kind of put a dampener on things because it meant that we couldn't sit outside and enjoy the sunshine, and as I said, we spent quite a long time sat under some stairs eating, so we missed the bulk of the sheep show, which was a shame, but it was really nice to have another element to a show because all the shows I've been to have been very much focused on the finished yarn, whereas this was a lot more about other fibre-based crafts. There was a room with rug making and weaving and spinning, which was great. And then of course you had the sheep, which I really enjoy because it's very easy to kind of get blinkered and only see the fantastic yarn that is the end result. But there's so much else out there. There's so many other crafts that use these fibres. The sheep themselves are a very big part of what we do. And that was really great. And I think if I went next year, I'd try maybe to go a little bit earlier, maybe to try and stay the night before, so I can get there a little bit earlier and do a little bit more, because it was so lovely to hang out with people. But next year I do think I'd like to go and see some sheepy shows. And yeah, I'm just very happy with my purchases because they are gorgeous. The other element of Fibre East that I really loved was people coming up to say hello and being really, really sweet and really lovely. That is always a bit of a surprise. I always feel like I'm talking to a camera and nobody out there's listening. Even when you comment, I always just kind of think, these can't be real people that are watching, surely not. Why would anyone watch this ramblings of a mad woman? So it's really lovely to meet you and to have a chat with you. And as I said, the lovely Carly gave me a lot of tea, which probably looked a little bit like a drug deal because I just had my bag open and was like, quick, just put it in, it's great. No, and she was like, are you sure you like this one? I was like, I like it all, it's fine. So again, thank you, Carly. But I have to say that it's very recently, because I've been to so many shows and a few other things, I have had a little bit of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is basically this feeling that you are going to get found out. And I felt that a lot recently. I work full time. I have a 2-hour commute every day. I have fairly busy weekends as well, because we try and go out. I try to spend time with my family, my friends, Rich, and it gets very busy, so I don't always have as much time for making as I would like. This weekend, for example, I went out for the summer party of my previous workplace, the job that I had before I moved to Portsmouth, and that was great, and it was so lovely to see people, but I don't turn out as much stuff. I don't make as much progress as other podcasters. I don't sew. I'm hoping to, when we move, to set up my sewing machine and do a little bit more sewing, but I don't do as much. I don't finish as much. I'm nowhere near as talented as some of these other podcasters. You know, as I said when I was talking about my hortensia, I really do think that I could make a few more garments, come back and knit that again so much better, because even though I've been knitting for a long time, there's always room for improvement, and I always have this feeling that I'm going to get found out, because I know a lot of indie dyers, I know a little bit about fibre, I have the Fleece and Fibre source book packed away, ready to be unpacked on our new bookshelf, which I flick through and I find really interesting. But I always kind of feel like someone's going to ask me a question and I'm not going to know the answer, and they're going to realise that I'm not a real knitter, which is ridiculous, because I am. I knit constantly, I knit whenever I have the time, I crochet too, and I love it. And I love the yarn, and I love the hand dyers, and I love meeting people in this amazing community. But you know, there's always this thing of like, but you're making a blanket out of acrylic, and people are going to think that doesn't make you a real knitter. And sometimes it's quite difficult to take a step back and take a breath and go, it doesn't matter. I represent myself on this podcast. I'm very open about the fact that yes, I've crocheted blankets out of acrylic because crochet eats yarn, and they are for people who do not want to have to hand wash things. So I'm very open about that. I think acrylic has its place. And I'm very open about the things I don't know, or at least I hope I am. I'm always ready to hear advice. I ask questions. And yeah, it was particularly, I think because I met so many people, I kind of by the end of it felt a little bit like, what if they ask me a question and I don't know the answer? And that's a bit silly really, isn't it? Because it's okay not to know. I've never done brioche. I'm hoping to do a Stephen West shawl so I can learn it. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because I wonder, I can't be the only one who feels that. You know, even something as simple as being called into a meeting that you don't normally go to because someone's on holiday or whatever can leave you with that thing of like, what if I don't know the right thing? What if I say the wrong thing? And we all get that, right? It's not just me. Well, I hope so. I hope I'm going to get people saying, no, I feel that too. Yeah, it's a very rambly episode today. I feel like I had so much that I wanted to share with you all, and, you know, things that I'd finished, things that I'm working on, things that I've bought, things that I want to frog and redo. Yeah, and you know me, I get a little bit tiggery and rambly when I'm excited, so sorry about that. Probably nibbled off half my lipstick as well. I do that a lot too. I did hope that when I turned 30 I was going to magically break out of my chrysalis and become this very chic, very confident person who never got their lipstick worn off because they ate a sandwich. But that hasn't happened, and I'm starting to think that doesn't happen, and it's good to be honest. So however much, you know, you might look at other people and think they've got it all together, it's good to say, not always. So yeah, that's my admission of the week, that sometimes I worry I'm going to get found out. So I figure if I just tell you that I wish I was a better knitter and I want to learn a dozen different techniques and I want to knit a dozen jumpers so that I'll become better at garments, there's nothing to get found out, if I'm honest. I hope you have a lovely week. I will be back, as I said, next weekend, circumstances permitting. You never know what might come up. But yeah, I hope to see you before I go away on my holiday. I will be drawing the winner for the 2,000 subscribers giveaway, so don't forget to enter that on the Ravelry group. I will leave a link in the show notes. Have a lovely, lovely week. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week for another cup of tea. Take care, bye. Left my tea in the other room. So